Hello, friends. Our second lecture is on plant anatomy, complex tissue. A tissue made up of more than one type of cells and they work together as a single unit is known as complex tissue. Complex tissues are heterogeneous in nature. They coordinate together to perform some specialized function. Their function may be same for all over all the tissues. In plants, there are two types of complex tissues, xylem and phloem. These are also known as vascular or conducting tissues. The first is xylem. The xylem term is originated from the xylos, meaning wood. It is defined as a complex tissue that is composed of four basic types of cells like tracheids, trachea, also known as vessels, xylem fibers, and xylem parenchyma. They remain in close association with phloem and has a specialized function like conduction of water and solutes and also to give the mechanical strength. The function of xylem is main function is conduction. Xylem carry water and mineral salts upward from root to stem. Their second function is mechanical support. It gives the mechanical support because the wall of the xylem elements are lignified and it gives mechanical strength and support to the plant body. It also performs the storage of food as the xylem parenchyma functions to store the food. Let us see the xylem elements. Tracheids, vessels, also called as trachea, xylem fibers, and xylem parenchyma. Let us see each in detail. Tracheids. Tracheids are actually dead, elongated, narrow lumen cells with tapering chisel-like closed ends. Cell wall is thick and made up of lignin with annular to spiral or sometimes galeriform thickenings and pitted. In cross section, tracheids appear circular and polygonal. Conduction, mechanical support, and wood formation are the function of tracheids. This is the diagram. See these tracheids, which are the elongated hair-like narrow lumen and which is closed at both ends with tapered wall. The second element is called as a vessels and trachea. The presence of vessel is a characteristic feature of the endospermic plant, particularly the dicot and monocot. Vessels are short tube-like cells perforated at both ends, having wide central lumen and lignified pitted wall. The thickenings are annular, spiral, scalariform, or reticulate. Vessels are non-living, dead, and devoid of protoplast at maturity. The lateral walls of the vessel shows bordered pitting. Vessels are perforated at the ends with simple or multiple perforation plates. Water can flow end to end as well as laterally through the vessels. Vessels are characteristic feature of angiosperm and forms the porous wood. Vessels with narrow lumen is protoxylem and those which are having wider lumen is metaxylem. The main function of vessel is conduction, mechanical support, and wood formation. This is the TS, microscopic TS, which is showing the vessel which are having this broader lumen, pore-like, these are the vessel. And those having the narrow lumen all have the tracheids. The xylem fiber, the third xylem element is xylem fiber. Fibers that occur as an element of xylem is called as xylem fiber, also called as a xylary or wood fibers. It is also dead sclerenchymatous cell found in xylem. Fibers are long, narrow with tapering ends, having thick, dignified secondary walls and narrow lumen. Simple or border pits are present on the wall. Fibers help in water conduction and gives support to the plant organs. Xylem fibers are of three types: fiber trachea, libriform fiber, and gelatinous fiber. The taxonomy of many of the plants are depend on the nature of xylem fiber. The fiber tracheids. Fiber tracheids are intermediate forms between typical fiber and tracheids. They are shorter with thin walls and less developed border pit. Libriform fibers are those having highly specialized elongated fibers with narrow lumen and thick cell wall. While the gelatinous fibers, they are having the secondary wall which do not have lignin but cellulosic cell wall with G layer, the gelatinous layer. The wall becomes highly hygroscopic and which absorbs the water. This is the differentiating features between fiber trachea, the fiber, and the gelatinous fiber. Fiber trachea is a intermediate with actually the trachea is gradually transforming in a fiber. The fourth element is xylem parenchyma. Parenchyma cells associated with xylem are known as xylem parenchyma or wood parenchyma. Xylem parenchyma is the only living tissue in the xylem element with prominent nucleus and rich cytoplasm. It is having thin cellulosic wall and lignin is absent. It is of two types, axial parenchyma and ray parenchyma. The axial parenchyma plays important role in a taxonomic identification of many of the wood. The main function of xylem parenchyma is to store the food material and it helps in conduction of a sap and water. The next complex tissue is a phloem. Phloem is a permanent, living, complex vascular tissue found along with xylem. It is living complex vascular tissue. It is also called as bast or leptome. Phloem is food conducting principal tissue and consists of a sieve elements, companion cells, phloem parenchyma, and phloem fibers. The main function of the phloem is to help in conduction of food from leaf to various plant organ. We know that the food is produced in a leaf as a result of photosynthesis. Bast fibers gives stiffness to the plant. Let us see the each and every element in detail. The sieve tubes. Sieve tubes are long, narrow, cylindrical living cells which are connected to each other end to end to form a sort of tube like structure. These are thin walled living cells with cytoplasm but lack nucleus and are dependent on companion cell. Companion cells always associated with the sieve tubes. The ends of sieve tubes are with porous plate called as a sieve plate, which allows the sap to diffuse freely from cell to cell. Sieve plates are having specialized sieve areas. Sieve tubes are only found in angiosperm, while in gymnosperms and pteridophytes they have a sieve cells. The perforation plate is absent in the sieve cell. Function. The main function of sieve tube is translocation of organic solids from leaf to other parts or the storage parts of a plant. The diagram shows this particular sieve plate. See that elongated sieve tube having a sieve plate on its oblique end wall. This is a mesh-like structure and a companion cell is always associated with it. The companion cell. These are long, narrow, thin-walled living cells with prominent nucleus. As we know that sieve tube is devoid of nucleus, that's why it have to become a dependent on a companion cell which is having prominent nucleus. All the governance of a sieve tube is done by the neighboring companion cell. Companion cells are always associated with sieve tubes and connected with them with plasmodesmata. Companion cells are found in angiosperms only and absent in gymnosperms and pteridophytes. Mark this point. Function. It supports and regulates sieve tube in food conduction. Phloem parenchyma. The living parenchyma cells other than albuminous and companion cells associated with phloem referred as phloem parenchyma. Phloem parenchyma are elongated cylindrical cells with tapering or rounded ends. They have thin cellulosic cell wall with pits, having dense cytoplasm and nucleus. They are connected with each other by plasmodesmata. The function of phloem parenchyma that they concern with storage and lateral transport of the food as well as accumulation of tannins and resins. It may regain meristematic activity for secondary growth. The fourth element, phloem fiber, also called as bast fiber. Sclerenchyma cells associated with primary and secondary phloem are called phloem fibers. Phloem fibers found in between sieve tubes. The cells are long, dead with narrow lumen. The cell wall is thick, made up of cellulose, hemicellulose, and lignin. They are having simple or border pits. The main function of phloem fiber is to support the tissue of phloem and offers strength and stiffness to the plant. So the friends do this exercise that what are complex tissues and list xylem elements and list phloem elements. What is the function of vessel? What is function of xylem fibers? What is function of sieve tube? What is function of phloem parenchyma? Thanks.